Hey, welcome to the Fanatical Elfz Show, part of the Elfz Network. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Cleveland Browns fans, bringing you all the latest in Browns news. Tune in now. We are a bunch of wild and crazy Browns fans. We are the Fanatical Elfz Show. I'm John, and we got a host, a great new group of guys here tonight on the Fanatical Elfz Network. We got Jarrell, we got Steve, we got Sam, we got Noah, and we got Lou. Man, I'm impressed I got all your names right. Welcome
and you
aboard.
Are again.
I'm Johnny.
Ooh.
Johnny somebody.
I know.
Hey, it's a Thursday night. We are live here. We are coming to you on YouTube, on the X, on Facebook. We just love you joining us here on the Fanatical Elfz, and our network is growing, and you can see that we are growing by leaps and bounds as we are joined by three new guys who are going to be bringing it here. I'm so excited to have them part of our network moving forward, and they're going to introduce themselves here in just a moment. But, you know, we talk Browns. This is the Cleveland Browns podcast. We'll throw in a few things here and there, but we're like you guys. We have Browns conversations, talk Cleveland sports all the time, and we just like the fact that you're joining us. Make sure that you're downloading us on Apple, on Spotify. Tell your friends, spread the love. It's a Cleveland Browns podcast, the Fanatical Elfz. So, yeah, we hired a few new guys. We're so excited. Jarrell, how are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. How's everybody doing tonight?
Jarrell, tell everybody where you're coming from.
So I'm coming from Nashville, Tennessee, down in the South right now. But I was actually born in Cleveland, and so I spent like maybe the first 4 years of my life there, and I would always go back and visit. Longtime Browns fan. I got baby pictures of my old Hutch gear with the Bernie Kosar jersey and the helmet. So it goes back a while.
Awesome. I love it. Love it so much.
Cool.
And Steve, you're going to be now neighbors with Jarrell. You're down there in Nashville doing the Dog Pound South podcast.
Been here since 1967.
How are you this evening, by the way? It's a Thursday night down in
I'm
Nashville.
doing great, man. It's Thursday night. Knocked out a few tax returns today. Hear that ching ching every time I turn on my tax program.
Yes, if you need a tax guy and you're living in Nashville, Steve's your guy.
Starting my 32nd year of doing it.
Bless your heart.
A lot of money in those forms.
Sam, down in Texas, our youngster. How you doing tonight with the cowboy hat? You know, you're bringing. I like it. What are you wearing? The Cooper jersey? Which jersey are you wearing today?
Cooper.
Nice. How's
yeah,
it going down there?
It's nice. I got barbecue, so that was yummy.
Did you stop eating the pretzels, or are you still eating your pretzels?
No, I already finished them.
Okay.
I had like half a bag. I ate half of that at the restaurant. Yeah, it's nice down here in Texas. It's warm. It's not cold. It's gonna get hot soon. We only got like 2 more months before we start turning into sludge every time we walk out the door, but hopefully we'll live through it again.
Sam, you know, you guys know, and some of you, like I lived in Wichita, Kansas for 20 some years. And one of the things I noticed today I live in, Columbus now, is it was kind of breezy. I don't know, you guys who live up in Cleveland, it was a little bit more windy today. And I don't miss the wind of the plains in Kansas. So
it gets windy. It gets windy down here.
I know. I used to make that route down I-35 down to Dallas all the time. So, Sam, nice to have you aboard here. Now you're still the youngest in the crew, but now we got Noah. Welcome, Noah. How are you?
I'm not bad. Unlike Sam, it is cold up here. It is windy. We were 50-mile-per-hour winds today. So coming to you live from the East Bank of the Flats in downtown Cleveland.
I love it.
Awesome.
You're a man of, you do many things. I know you work with the Cavs, and you also work at one of the TV stations in Cleveland, and you've got your own East Bank podcast, which we're excited to have you include that part of the Fanatical Elfz. So thanks for coming along.
I'm happy to be here, man. Can't wait.
And, the other thing that I like about this kid is Noah went to the College of Worcester, and most of you know, if you listen to any of our shows, and I'm from Worcester. So I just thought that was really cool, and I'm excited to hear what Noah and you have your buddy. Is it tell me your buddy's name again.
Yeah, his name's Matt. He does the East Bank Sports Show with me. We normally come out every Monday or Tuesday with a new episode.
Excellent. I'm real excited to hear those. And then we got Lou Marconi. Lou, welcome. Lou, check him out on Wikipedia. Lou, you work for Cleveland Sports Talk, like Steve up there, and I know Sam also writes for Cleveland Sports Talk. I think Zach knows everybody. He has helped a lot of folks, and love Zach. I always try to give Zach a shout out. I know over the years Zach sometimes gets he puts some stuff out there, and Cleveland Sports Talk and stuff, but he's a hardworking, dedicated young man who's really worked a lot since he was in high school, middle school, actually, if you go back a ways. So I always appreciate him. And I know Lou, you do, and you write for Cleveland Sports Talk. You do your other shows. So how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. And I'm from an undisclosed location in Geauga County, Ohio. So that's right. I'm in the snow belt. That's all I can say. So doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Appreciate to be around and get to meet everybody. And I'm looking forward to having fun, and it's a blast to do this. I've been a Browns fan my whole life. Actually, I'm old enough to remember the Cardiac Kids year. That was when I first started remembering, because I was 7 years old. So yeah, and my brother was at that game against the Raiders, the second coldest game in the history of the NFL. Was that one, the infamous Red Right 88? My brother was there. He's 4 years older than me. I was 7 and he was 11. He went with my uncle.
So I was about 11 or 12, Lou, when that happened, and that was my first. I always tell people that my memory of the Browns, where my heart started to break, was after that game. I think I cried. It was an awful moment for any young Browns fan, and it was an introduction to agony that we oftentimes experience over the years. So
yeah, it's we could get into that.
I was negative 30.
You're negative.
I want to give Jarrell. I know
negative 27.
Jarrell, you mentioned to me, and I think this is pretty cool. But I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. But I thought you have an uncle, correct? That played with the
my
Browns.
dad. It was my dad.
Who his Judson, right? Wait, Judson Flint, who played with the Browns he was on that Browns 1980 team.
Yeah, he was.
He played in 81 and 82, right?
I think 80 to 83 defensive back. He was
drafted by New England.
Yeah. We got cut by New England, and then I think got drafted in 79, like 7th round. And then coming up around the next year, he got cut. But the Browns had an injury in the defensive back. I think Lawrence got hurt. Lawrence Johnson, I think it was. So they picked him up like week 2, and that's how he made the team. And awesome. I asked him how cold it was that day, because they didn't have like the Under Armour and all that stuff. And I think he said he had like a couple layers of long johns on, but that was it. They had I think they had heaters maybe back then on the side, but he said that was easily the coldest game.
That was
easily.
Yeah, even Ozzie Newsome said, that usually you can get it out, you can block it out, because we couldn't. It just
Steve, did you watch that game? Do you remember 1980? Do you remember that game?
Yeah, they had it on down here. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember Jim Brown playing, so that was my
you were there in the
experience. So my dad used to take my brother and I before it got cold, because he always had tickets.
Oh, cool.
He had tickets to Indians games and Browns games, and anytime a client would want to come in town, he'd volunteer, and my mom would say, "As long as it's not late October or November, I'll go with you."
Yes.
And please, God, tell me the wife didn't come. Because if the wife came and it was November, my mom would have to go.
Oh,
yeah.
Freeze her butt off.
We have a lot of different experiences, and we can all share. And that's part of I think that's really intriguing about our group here. And I'm looking forward to hearing again what your shows, what you bring, and all these experiences that you guys have all had personally. So I think that's really great. Let's talk initially about, we left off last week talking about draft needs and free agency. Free agency is right around the corner here. We got the combine coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Let's start with free agency. I know, Steve. Yeah, Steve, you talked a little bit about wide receivers that you were considering that were out there on your show earlier in the week. If you want to start us out, maybe with a couple that you think, and then anybody want to dive in there.
It all depends on what they're going to do with Amari Cooper. I mean, right now they've got 6, 7 wide receivers already on contract. So, I just pitched a few guys, the higher money guys. I'm more now started looking at some of the backups, somebody to replace Marquise Goodwin, because I don't think he's going to be back. It's a shame. I like the signing. I loved his speed, but age and injuries, it kind of all catches up with it. I know the media is out there pushing for Gabe Davis, which would be a nice pickup. I talked also about
Diggs. You may even mention Diggs for a second.
Really?
Didn't you mention?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No, I don't think so. Diggs.
Okay.
Oh, Stephon Diggs.
That was my
Diggs,
trade
show. Because we all know.
Oh, the trade
Andrew
show. I'm
Berry
sorry.
Likes to trade that
throw
second
some
round
trades
pick
too
for a wide receiver. I mean, that's what he's done the last 2 years. And I dare anybody here tonight to say, "Oh yeah, I knew he was going to do that." Nobody knew he was going to do that
when he traded for Elijah Moore. Yeah,
Cooper 2 years ago and Moore last year. Yeah. So he could do it again. Why not? I've heard that Stephon Diggs isn't that happy. His production fell after Dorsey got fired.
Yep.
And wide receivers love their production, so it's a possibility. And then you got to look at teams that are kind of in cap trouble.
Yep.
Of course, you're going to have
the Chargers.
In deep trouble. So Mike Williams.
Mike Williams.
No.
Yeah, we've talked about Mike Williams.
He gets hurt every 2 seconds.
Right. Denver
can't even get in his car without hurting his shin or something, bro.
What did you say about Denver? What were you saying about Denver?
Denver, they're like $45 million over the cap.
So with Jerry,
anybody
Jeudy?
Want Jerry Jeudy? He was a big topic last year at the trade deadline.
You see that a lot too with this team. I feel like you see these guys that keep coming up, year after year, eventually weasel their way onto the team. That happened with Elijah Moore too, so I could see that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of the other guys, Devontae Adams, no thank you.
T. Higgins,
Tyler Lockett, not really.
T. Higgins,
high on him.
I don't see Cincinnati let him get here. I see Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I talked to Jack Duffin about what the cap and what to do, and what they're probably going to do is tag him and trade him.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, and they won't trade him to the Browns. Sorry,
no.
Browns fans.
Why would you let your division rival get better and yourself weaker? It wouldn't make sense. So yeah.
Yeah, the Bengals got like $60 million in money to spend this year. So
we're gonna beat the Bengals either way. Might as well trade them.
I mean, and so Brandon Ayuk, he's a possibility. There's been some
49ers are keeping him.
There's been a little bit of grousing since the Super Bowl was over. So who knows? Anybody see anybody on the Dolphins or the Saints they want? Saints again are in cap hell, $83 million over the cap.
They're in cap hell every year.
I know. And they make it right by the time the league year starts. It's weird.
$40 million to Derek Carr. I could have told you that wasn't going to work out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the Stephon Diggs thing, the Bills are like $51 million over the cap.
Wow.
So they can't pay everybody.
And we're like what?
But aren't we? What are we over?
We're 19 million over the cap. But a simple restructure of Deshaun Watson and poof, you've got like 30 million.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very manipulable.
What about
malleable? Yeah.
All right, Joe. Well, let's touch on Joe Flacco. I know we've all talked about him, and Steve, you've even mentioned this. Other guys, Jalou, I know. Do we target him? Do we still go after him? He's 39 years old.
I'd bring back Brissett before bringing back Flacco.
Okay.
Yeah.
Younger.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I love Flacco. Thank you for what you did, but no thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for throwing 2 interceptions back to back in the playoff game.
Right.
Pick sixes.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
Pick sixes. Big difference.
I knew it was all a conspiracy, damn it. I knew it.
It's all rigged.
Damn Baltimore Ratbird. Come on now.
Oh, keep in mind too, that game the defense got us stopped to start the third quarter. We were driving, and if we would have gotten a score, we would have been within one score of that game. It completely unraveled. The same thing happened in Los Angeles against the Rams. It completely unraveled like just the beginning of the fourth quarter. It's like, oh, that's it. So
yeah.
But I gotta give Joe credit. I mean, he did get the Browns in a position, the fans all hyped up.
I was at the Jets game. When they clinched, and I had my wife with me. She didn't complain about the cold, so it was fine.
There you go.
No, she dressed for it. She's a tough girl. I mean, she's married to me, so.
Well, it's funny to think, the Jets. Yeah, Steve.
I don't really think Joe Flacco is going to be available. You got 8 new head coaches in the league, and you've got on this list of bridge quarterbacks. So you're looking at Gardner Minshew. You're looking at Ryan Tannehill. Anyone? No, thank you. If he doesn't go to the Steelers with Arthur Smith.
Right.
God, please do it. Please bring Tannehill to Pittsburgh. I would love it.
Please. I mean, but your backup quarterback list isn't the greatest in the world. The only one I would be even thinking about is Jameis Winston. And that's about it. All the other ones are just.
How old is Jameis Winston? I think he's like 40. He seems old.
He was drafted 1 overall. I want to say, what is that?
2013, if I'm shooting off the hip.
2013.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, the backup quarterback list.
He's
isn't
30
the greatest in the world.
He's 30.
He's 30.
Okay.
So
he's almost twice your age, Sam.
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
All right. Let's talk draft here for a little bit. Okay. So we got the combine coming up. I guess I would like to know some of the guys that you guys are looking at. To be honest, I haven't looked a lot right now. I mean, I've caught some of the Senior Bowl and some of the different things. Like your takes on who do you think? I guess one, I know Sam, you've been doing some research on some of the Browns' needs and pushing out some of your mock drafts. I know you spent a lot of time with that. So, and I know we talked a little bit about it last week. So, what are some things? Let's start with you. What are some guys that you're looking or you're targeting at a particular position for the Brownies?
I'd say defensive tackle and probably offensive tackle. A lot of tackles.
Okay.
Boring. Really good,
no.
What?
Boring.
Some really good.
I'm kidding.
It's a great tackle draft. I mean, come on.
There's 2 out of Texas that are great. There's 1 out of Ohio State that's decent.
Buckeyes.
There's 1 out of LSU who's pretty good. There's a lot of good defensive tackle talent in this draft.
Okay.
And if we could, I mean, if T'Vondre Sweat falls to our spot, that would be incredible because I think T'Vondre Sweat won the Senior Bowl best performer.
Yeah.
And so he's like insane. I don't think he'll fall to the Browns. I think in all the mock drafts I've run, I've had to trade up to like 41, 42 to get him. And I assume now that he's performed in the Senior Bowl and done all that stuff, I bet he'll fall even more to possibly a first-round pick. So I don't see us getting him. But just defensive tackles and offensive tackles, I think there's some pretty good players out there that are definitely capable of falling to a place for where the Browns can pick them with that second.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Any of the other guys got anybody that you're thinking about like right now as far as draft needs?
I'd like to ask the question of our new members.
Sure.
Yes.
You guys, you're looking at this team going forward, and I'm talking about just the draft. What do you think each answer and give me your opinion. What are the Browns' 3 biggest needs?
To me, the 3 biggest needs would be defensive line, Sam mentioned just now. I think wide receiver, but Andrew Berry picking wide receivers kind of scares me after the last couple picks that we've done. The David Bells, the Cedric Tillman. Thank you. We have the hype for these guys, and then they turn out to be,
Let's not forget Anthony Schwartz. He's still
that too.
Ooh, how can you forget him?
Yes.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. To me,
please.
Picking receiver is sketchy with Andrew Berry, as much as I love him and everything he's done for the team since he's become our GM. And then I would go O-tackle too. Jedrick, I'm not a big fan of him. I played offensive line in college at the College of Worcester. His effort,
Fighting Scots.
Yes, sir. His effort, point blank period, pisses me off sometimes. Some of the
Right?
things you see him
Damn it!
do.
Come on now, play the line the right way. Come on,
Right.
man.
And I love Jack Conklin, and I think the locker room and the guys around him like Jack Conklin, but he's too hurt. He's too old. He's too past his prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like DeJuan Jones. I
Lou?
like that
Yeah.
find. Yeah, I
He's
like that find.
100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
isn't
was
that a
great
good pick?
find in the
Yeah,
fourth round.
definitely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I heard his like size, I was like 6'8", 350 pounds. I'm like, jeez.
Big
There's
Thanos.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, Thanos is right. I do see them looking for a receiver, and possibly early, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see linebacker too, because the only starting linebacker we have under contract is Owosu
JOK.
Koromo. Yeah, JOK.
Mm.
So, because I mean, I don't see, maybe Walker comes back. I see Taki coming back, but it's hard to say. And could you see Eichenberg from Ohio State coming here in the mid round?
I've seen him in a few drafts to the Browns.
Yeah, that
I have.
being an Ohio State fan myself too, that would be interesting. That would be interesting.
Well, considering we had such a huge drought of 50 some years or something that the Browns have ever taken more than two Buckeyes in a draft, that we did that last year, but it would be nice considering that they're just 2 hours down 71.
But I think the strategy that Barry's going to do is similar to what he did last year. You're going to see trades and free agent to fill those needs, and then the draft will be a different strategy. I think he's not going to use the draft and rookies to try to expect to come in and start and perform at a high level, because this team is pretty. I hate to say it, it's a deep playoff roster team.
I agree.
With healthy. So I don't see him thinking like, hey, I'm going to draft a guy in the second round. I need him to be a Pro Bowler. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. We did that. We did that shit in 99 till 2019. So I mean, we're not doing that.
Right. Jarrell, what, you got anybody?
No, I would agree. I would say linebacker, because when I watched the games, I thought that was probably where the defense was the weakest, in the middle, because Schwartz, with the D-line and with the secondary, he was able to pretty much just go man up across the board. None of that zone mess that you kind of had with Joe Woods, where there were a lot of the broken coverages. I would just like to see another linebacker or two to pair with JOK, because he looked completely different from 2022 to 2023. He was flying all over the field, making plays. Yeah, the outfit looked good. So I would say that the linebacker is something that I would probably like to see in the draft, and maybe another offensive tackle, because like you said, we do have the age issue with some of the offensive tackles, and we had a lot go down. So it'd be nice to kind of replenish some of that on the roster.
There you go.
We're gonna let's take a quick break, Steve, and then we'll be right back here on the Fanatical Elves. We'll finish our discussion about the draft, and then we'll talk a little bit about something about the old stadium. All right, we'll be right back. This is the Fanatical Elfz Show. How do you like those commercials? We're back.
Loved them.
Incredible.
I just love the fact, it's cool when you hear back, your audio of the podcast, and you actually have like real commercials where they're selling real products. You kind of feel special, which is pretty cool. That's what we're here for. We're making the mega bucks here on the Fanatical Elfz Show, but we really need all of you, and you guys that are new. You need to spread the love, spread the word about the brownies. Tell them about the Fanatical Elves. We need you to download. By the way, you need to listen to our show for more than 60 seconds. I found that out today. So you just need to hit the download button, hit it for 60 seconds, and bam, it gives us a download. We need that so we can make boku money and we can all become rich and famous. So please do that. Listen to us on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you have Cleveland Browns podcast. We're there. We are the Fanatical Elves. Okay. Steve, I cut you off.
That's okay.
We're talking.
I was just
gonna
agree. Linebacker. I mean, you've got JOK, you got two special teamers, Diabate and Fields, and two guys I've never heard of. So that's your linebacker crew going in right now. I would even venture not re-signing Harrison Bryant and going with a tight end. This draft is filled with day 3, number 3 tight ends. I mean, you can't go wrong with some of these guys. And offensive tackle. I'm sorry, James Hudson, you're a wonderful person, but the experiment is over. They need another
You've been
swing
saying that
tackle.
for a year or two, right?
I know. Well, I said it. Also, I said it about Tommy Togiai. Bye-bye, Tommy Togiai.
Yep.
So, I mean, you know.
All these guys got married last summer, too. I feel really bad, like Harrison Bryant. You know, we talked about that in one podcast.
And Togiai got married, too.
Togiai got married, too. I know.
Yeah, well. You know, this is $1 billion a year business, and all that counts is the
Speaking of hot topics, just before we get into the last topic about the Cleveland Browns and the stadium and all, I'd like to get your perspective on everything that we just saw, the spectacle that was the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce bumping in and knocking over his coach, Andy Reid, for Kermit the Frog, Patrick Mahomes, you know, all these guys, you know, it's all like said and, you know, everything was, I don't know, you know, all these conspiracy theorists and Kansas City
the way
wins
they
in
drew
this,
it up.
and they go into
Came
this
out
overtime
perfect.
that was weird, and they new rules and stuff. So, like your takes on it. I'm so tired of Kelsey and whatever her name is,
Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I
Don't mess with my girl Taylor Swift. Come on, man.
I put out a meme.
She's from Nashville.
I put out a meme as a joke, and even sent it to Zach at Sealy Sports Talk. He put it out too. It was obviously an AI of Taylor Swift at 300 pounds, and it said Tater Swift.
Oh boy,
that's crazy.
It was funny as hell, and he thought it was funny. Everybody thought it was funny. It was just a joke, people, because actually the comments were just like, "Oh, this is a one
Don't mess
person."
with Swifties.
Oh my God! She's like,
Swifties are powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, she said it's beneath. She said it's beneath you to make fun of overweight people. I said no, midgets are beneath me, and they're not safe either.
Oh boy!
Oh,
she didn't like that.
Yikes!
There you go.
Talk about being oversensitive. It was a joke. Relax.
Right.
Could you believe?
So the overall, let me just so were you surprised by the outcome? Did everybody here predict that? No.
I put money on the Chiefs and won money on the Chiefs. So
yeah,
I was surprised. I was surprised there were 7 field goals, 7 by both teams.
I had no idea.
I was surprised it was scoreless in the first quarter. That was surprising.
Me too.
Yeah,
that surprised me.
Yeah,
Jarrell?
I thought that the 49ers were the better team, but I didn't trust Kyle Shanahan. But if you look at this Chiefs team, I think the Bills were the better team. They just couldn't beat them. I definitely think the Ravens were the better team. They just couldn't beat them. And I think this year was really just an example of experience.
Why?
Because
Jarrell, why do you think that with Baltimore? I mean, they're freaking ratbirds. Okay. Why is that? Because I mean, every year they kind of get to that point, and I've never trusted them. I never think they're going to go, even though everybody else in the world, we talk about this all the time on the shows here, that I just don't think they're ever going to get that far. Why is that, you think, Jarrell?
I hate to say it because I like them, but if you remember that they had the number 1 seed against Tennessee a couple of years ago, and I live in Nashville, and they went up in there and beat them down. So, I don't know if it's the quarterback. I don't know if they're calling them like the James Harden of football. I don't know if I want to go that far. But I do think that the regular season success, it really means nothing because they were beating everybody down. They were beating on their chest. They were talking trash. And then when it counted, you pretty much came up short tremendously. So
well, they lost their composure against Kansas City. You could see it. I mean, Kansas City got in their heads. It started at the pregame warm-ups with Kelsey and Mahomes messing with the Baltimore kicker, try to put his kickstand next to him, and they kept picking it up and throwing it away.
Do you think it's important then? We talked about Steve and Sam. We've talked about this before, but I want to hear from the other guys too, and Sam, you as well. But do you think that, we've talked about the Browns' success and what the Browns need to do moving forward, and a lot of us have talked about this idea of the Browns winning the division, which they haven't done in 30,000 years.
89.
Right, 89. So, I mean, how realistic is it? I mean, it's going to happen at some point. Is it going to happen this next year? And is it more obvious that that's more important because the Browns need a home game, or does home field advantage not mean anything anymore in the playoffs? I guess
it does when you're in Cleveland.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
depending on who you're playing, if you're playing Dallas, who plays in a dome half the season, then yeah, it's going to mean something. But if you're playing New York, who's freezing half the time, then no, it's not going to mean as much. It's
Mhm.
all depending on who you play for if home field advantage is important or not.
Okay.
Um,
Lou, you got something?
yeah. Well, I was saying the winning the division, I think, is very possible.
Okay.
Every team in the division had a winning record. The one team that won the division
Mhm.
had their starting quarterback healthy all year. We
Mhm.
didn't. Pittsburgh
Good
didn't.
point. Yeah.
Cincinnati didn't. We stay
Yeah.
healthy, we can win the division. I'm not predicting it, but I'm thinking if we stay healthy, we can. And
When you look
that's
at
how
that,
good team we have. Yeah.
if you look at that schedule, damn, I mean, I mean, I know we don't know when they're playing what, but the teams on that schedule this next year are, I mean, just on a glance, it looks tough. Now, every season, I mean, things
Yeah.
can look tough, but okay, I know. It's
Still February, so you have no idea. I mean,
You know,
No
6
idea.
months out from the season, you could be real nervous, but when
I'm
these
always nervous. Damn it, I'm a Browns fan.
No, I'm
You
You
with
know,
you.
you know why? Do you know why it doesn't matter? Just look at last year's primetime schedule. How many times did you see the Jets and the Giants on TV, for God's sake? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
100%, right.
Oh, that's
Aaron Rodgers
depressing.
lasted 4 whole plays before he got hurt.
Those memes are my favorite of him running out with the flag, and then it's
Yeah.
just like him walking back to the locker room, and that was his
Yeah, that was
career
it.
with the Jets. I
That was
love
it.
it.
That's great.
After all that
man.
hype, and I remember because the Hall of Fame game, we were playing in Canton against the Jets.
Oh,
and
that's
that
right.
whole
Yep.
game, oh, Aaron Rodgers, Jets, all this hype and all this stuff, and I'm like, for God's sakes, it made me sick.
It
And
was
then
almost as bad as when they showed Taylor during the Super Bowl every other Travis
yeah.
Kelce play.
Oh, come on. It was 54 seconds.
That was 54 seconds too much, Steve.
Super Bowl
Oh,
parties are
come
brutal,
on.
especially when Taylor Swift is there. Oh God.
Uh,
Well, most of the time,
All right.
people at Super Bowl parties don't watch football and they don't know
No.
anything about football, and
Right.
it's just
No.
it's annoying. And they
Right.
don't shut up. So it's
That's why I
Damn it,
don't
we're
go
here to watch
Super
the
Bowl
football
parties.
game, not the commercials.
yeah, they're
Oh.
just talking and yapping, and you're trying to hear. There's maybe me and like a couple other husbands, because my neighbor had people over, and it was just me and a couple other guys that actually understood the game and knew what was going on, and
Yeah.
most people were there to drink, eat, and socialize.
Right.
So, mm.
Or drink that
Anyway.
peanut butter whiskey. Man, that was
Oh,
good
oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Let me tell you.
I'm personally offended by that.
What I said? What I said?
No, what John said about peanut butter whiskey.
Oh.
Come on, man.
If I
We're
offend
just
you.
south of Kentucky, and they make some of the best freaking bourbon in the world, and you're going to stick peanut butter in it? Jeez, why
Peanut
don't you
butter
just
and
get a
whiskey?
good bottle
never had it.
of bourbon and get you some
I'm
peanut
not.
butter and
I got okay.
crackers?
So you're telling me I got to become a bourbon drinker now.
Bourbon's good
Yes,
shit.
you should. There's some
Bourbon,
excellent
yeah.
bourbons out there.
Bourbon's kind of a slow, sippy drink, right? I'm not a drinker. So I mean, okay, I'm drinking. Yeah.
Yes,
This
it's
and
What's
a
that
slow
song?
sippy. And
Smooth as Tennessee whiskey. Right?
what?
All right.
Jack Daniels? Jack
Jack-
Daniels? I hate Jack Daniels. Oh,
So
no, thank you. I'll
No?
stick with anything from Buffalo Trace.
Hey, I want to throw out one last topic and then final thoughts here before we leave everybody tonight. Next topic, Lou wrote this article for Cleveland Sports Talk a while back, and I know we've all talked about it. And
I was ahead of the curve.
yeah, the stadium. So we were talking about it last week because it was the big news that came out a week ago about this.
Yeah.
The Browns had this extra location in Brook Park near the airport. Where Lou, I'll start off with you. I know you talked about it. You talked about it a little bit off air. Where are you at with everything with the stadium, and how do you see this playing out? And I want to hear from everybody else.
From what I'm hearing and the buzz that I'm getting from everybody else, really it's a matter of, okay, the city's not their top priority, but the Haslams need to move on something because this is a 4 or 5 year project. Well, the lease expires at the end of the 2028 season. So if they're going to have anything done, it has to be done by opening day, which would be August, opening preseason, August of 2029. Okay, that's 5 years from August, 5.5 years from now.
Okay.
So something's going to have to happen.
I see.
Where if they're going to break ground somewhere else, you're talking a big complex project. You're talking 5 years to get it right. So it's probably going to be a dome. It's probably going to be at that location, and they're going to try to make it as nice as possible to lure Super Bowls, Final Fours, WrestleManias, all kinds of events right there at the airport, have hotels built, have things built to really bring it in. Because I've been to other places and other states, especially I've been to Foxborough. And that next to Foxborough, it's like there's shops, there's restaurants. It's really nice. They could do something like that. Oh yeah, it's a huge thing in Foxborough. It's still going to be the Cleveland Browns playing basically in front of Cleveland Hopkins Airport. So it can be done. I think that's what's going to happen. Now they were talking about funding mechanisms. The Syntax isn't going to do it. Well, think about this. Back in 1995, when Modell left, they had to extend the Syntax to do it. Well, gambling's now legal in Ohio. So's marijuana. And I guess
no comment.
Yeah, well, Jake Lloyd brought this up on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show today, where he talked about in Minnesota, they were able to fund their stadium completely by using this. It's like a slot machine type of game, but on an iPad, and they just go and play it in the bar, and you play the $1 or $2 games. It's just a local bar, and and that would fund it. And he said they made so much money they actually they paid the bond 20 years early. So it's just interesting that there could be something like that in Ohio.
Yeah.
So these are people that are just showing up at a bar and playing $1 or $2 games. They're not going to the casinos to gamble in itself.
Yeah.
So there's different ways and mechanisms.
Too many smokers there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's people freaking out saying this is Art Modell 2.0. No, it's not. Shut up. You have no idea what the hell you're talking about. I lived through it. I was 22 when that happened.
Yes.
I mean, Sam, you weren't born yet. I'm not talking down to you, man. But I remember, because people don't know this or people don't remember this. He announced the move to Baltimore the day before we were voting on the Syntax extension. That is a fact.
That's right.
Yeah, he did that.
And it passed.
It passed 80-20. No, it passed 80-20. It went 80-20.
Oh, I thought it was 58, 52 to 48 or something like that.
I was going to say it was pretty high. Yeah.
You're talking 52-48 was when they first had the Syntax to build what is now Progressive Field.
Yeah, that's what
what I'm talking about was because the news broke early before the official announcement. It got leaked out. So the mayor came on TV. He's pissed. He's saying, Mayor Mike White. People came out, they voted 80-20, it passed. So he still had 3 years on the lease, and we passed that. So we said, hey, he can't leave. So that's how we were able to have our leverage to keep the team. If people want to talk about Cleveland Browns football and talk about, usually people would apologize to me when they find out I'm a Browns fan. And I said, well, wait a second. We have 8 world championships. It's a fact. We do.
Yeah.
4 AFC, 4 NFL championships before there was a Super Bowl. Yeah, it's like ancient history to them, but things happen.
I'm right there with you, Lou.
Things happen before in the world. 18 Hall of Famers. Yep. Okay. And we are the only fan base to fight to keep their team and win.
Yeah.
Period. So everybody, all of them out there, this is my final thought on it. STFU. All right.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Here we go, Brownies. Yeah, that's what it mean. For 20 years, we had to wait because basically what happened was, are you familiar with Southern Methodist University in Texas? You probably are, Sam.
Yeah.
Talk about Southern SMU. Do you remember what happened to that program?
Oh, yeah.
They got the death penalty.
Yeah. Right.
We got the death penalty is what happened. That was the death penalty to us because we had to Al Lerner got that team in September of 1998, and we had to have a team put together and field them up by August of 99. That's insane. Plus, we had to build
rushed everything.
We had the stadium itself was rushed, everything. So what we had to do was completely.
At least we don't have the trough in the stadium.
No, we don't. But I'm saying the stadium we have now is a complete piece of crap. That was in the article. It's not a good building. It was obsolete.
Can we get rid of those little midges, those little bugs that come off the lake? I'm really tired.
I get
those things come in October, and oh my God, they drive me nuts.
I get snake bugs.
They're like the most. Oh, it's awful. Hey, Noah, what do you think about the whole stadium stuff?
Yeah, so for me as a downtown Clevelander, right? One of the biggest appeals to moving down here post college and all of that is, to walk to the Browns games, to walk to the Muni lot, to walk, Progressive. Yeah. And I still call it the Q, and it'll always be the Q to me because I was in it when they won the championship. So to me, the stadium not being on the lakefront isn't what I want. I do agree that they're probably going to go with the Brook Park location. It's probably already settled on the back end. I don't know about you guys. I've been over in that area. What is there? And I know that they do development and stuff like that. Jerry World, you talked about Foxborough, all that. There's like nothing, like the Mally's factories over there. There's nothing over there other than the airport.
All kind of gentlemen's clubs on Brook Park Road.
Right.
Well, I like Bagley. Bagley Road isn't too far away. I like the Olive Garden right there.
Yeah, the Olive Garden.
Right,
Go to the Olive Garden.
There used to be an old Friendly's.
The Olive Garden.
To me, for the local economy and everything that, you know, I pay into with like my tax out of my paycheck right now and all of that, you know, it thrives on Brown season. You know, it's 7 a.m. and you have people selling the bootleg merchandise on the corner, and I live blocks away from the stadium.
Oh, I love it.
They're tailgating across the street from me before I even get up to go to the Muni lot.
Yeah.
To not have that.
I take the Rapid from Green Road.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. It's so much cheaper. It's easier.
100%. Yeah.
That's what I do. I get it. Well, to let you guys know, like, so where we're talking about building that stadium, I mean, I get on there I come up from Columbus. I get on the train right there at the Puritas exit, right, the one after the airport exit, and take it in from that direction. That's a very popular route. A lot of people park out there, park at the airport, and go into Cleveland that way on Sundays. So
yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
To me, it would just be really weird. And I know they'll still be the Cleveland Browns. A lot of NFL teams do it this way now for, you know, the plot of lands and stuff that are available. It would just be really weird and not feel the same to not have that energy in the city.
Yeah.
On a Sunday morning.
I agree.
And it be over there in Brook Park. And there's nothing wrong with Brook Park, and I'm fine with it. And it makes sense to me.
But you're right there, Noah. That's pretty. Yeah, you're the idea that you're there. I mean, you see it. Like we don't see that. I mean, I mean, Steve and Jarrell, you're in Nashville and watching the games, you know, at a local bar on your TV. You know, Sam's down there in Texas. We don't get that energy. I mean, I get it when I go up. I think Lou, you got season tickets too. I mean, you come in the Terminal Tower, you make that walk down, you know, East 3rd or East 9th, if you're, you know, West 3rd, or you go, you know, the whole, you know, it's a great energy. I mean, you don't see that in a lot of places. You know, you go to Kansas City, you know, you pull in the Arrowhead, it's just these huge damn parking lots that, you know, and they do some pretty good tailgating there. Buffalo, you know, but it's not the same sort of cultural sort of thing that you get like you're talking about.
No, and that's the biggest thing. I think, you know, with the location being on the lakefront and, you know, a stadium always being there and stuff like that. Yeah. Not having something there would be really weird, I think, for the city in general. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me. Even growing up, like living an hour outside of Cleveland, not, you know, coming up off the Shoreway or whatever and seeing the stadium or anything. It just doesn't feel right.
It seems like that's but I mean, that's something that I would think that the Haslams and people are really taking into consideration. Obviously, it's business and it's money and everything, but I think your points are well taken. I think there's a lot of Browns fans that feel that way.
I've heard this too. Like they're going to develop that lakefront, but without that stadium. But they might put in a smaller 10,000 seat stadium for women's outdoor soccer, high school games, other events that would be more feasible. Because to have an 80,000 seat outdoor football only stadium just doesn't make economic sense. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It is a hike to get into Cleveland Browns Stadium right now, regardless of where you park. So I agree with that.
But part of that energy too, like when you're coming in from the flats, but like when you're coming down West 3rd, and then you hit that bridge and you hit that the under thing where you go under, and then everybody's yelling, "Here we go, Brownies!" and it echoes, and then you're crossing. Yeah, I mean that's a huge thing. I mean, even when I was a kid, going back to the 1980s, that was. I mean, the old stadium, it was the same, walk and, the same energy, and something I always remembered as a kid. So Sam, you're the kid in the group. What do you think about all this with the stadium?
I think it's interesting. I think stadiums are focal points for a city. I think it's an economic boost. I mean, if you look at the area here in Arlington, if you look at the place where AT&T is, you can drive on the highway and watch it develop into a good big area, and then it kind of develops into normal. And so
Yeah.
we've built around AT&T. I mean, we've got 2 ballparks, a million hotels. I mean, there's 3 of them now. AT&T itself, whole bunch of development and stuff. I think it's important, especially next to an airport. I think now that gambling is legal too, they're going to have some fun with that. But I think it's great for the Browns, I think, and just great for the city in general.
Yeah. Jarrell, what do you think? I mean, you're down there in Nashville. They have the open air stadium. What, you think the Browns are leaning toward this dome, you think, or where are you at with all this?
Well, they're building Tennessee's open air, like you say, and then they're building the dome, but that's because they want Final Fours and Super Bowls and all of that.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
When I think about the last 25 years, there's only like 3 or 4 dome teams that have won: the Rams, the Saints, the Colts. Am I forgetting anybody? I think that might be the list. So now I'm sure at some point every dome in the NFL or every stadium in the NFL will eventually be a dome. But I feel like in the AFC North, where Baltimore plays outside, Pittsburgh plays outside, Cincinnati plays outside, I do think there's an element of, if they make it a dome, you're going to lose a little bit if you have to leave the dome and go play in the cold. I do think you lose a little piece of that grit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I do think they should get one if the stadium is in need of renovation. I went to the Titans game this year in week 3, and I guess it was the Muni lot where all the tailgating is. And I can tell you down here in Nashville, it's nothing even close to that. I never saw nothing like that in my life in terms of how many people it was, how big the lot was. And it was just all you could see was orange and brown. So I guess if they do have to leave the city, that I wonder if that element will still be there, that energy.
Yes.
But, I would just prefer not to see a dome, but I get why they would make it, just because of the economics of it.
Yeah. Steve, you're a tax attorney. Where are you at with all this?
I'm not an attorney.
You're our tax guru.
For libel,
you're not
for right now, or calling me an attorney. Jarrell's right. They're going to break ground on the 28th of this month downtown Nashville. The unique thing about Nashville is you really don't need a lot of tailgating. You just walk over from the entertainment district, 2nd Avenue and Lower Broad. I mean, they have 2 bridges. They have a bridge that you can walk on, and a bridge they closed down to vehicle traffic. I mean, the one thing about a downtown stadium is you got to have the hotel occupancy. I don't think Cleveland has the hotel occupancy. I know Nashville does. They've got a convention center that's like 5-6 blocks long.
Yeah.
And, they can host a draft and have 600,000 people come to it. They can have 3 Taylor Swift concerts and still have hotel rooms available. Yeah. I mean, that's what Nashville does.
Yeah.
They do big events. I agree with Jarrell about the Dome Stadium. Buffalo's building a new stadium, and they're not putting a dome on it. So I agree wholeheartedly.
Where are they building that stadium in Buffalo?
Across the street.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
They're kind of doing what Nashville is doing. Nashville is doing it on the other side of the parking lot.
Okay.
So,
it's crazy because I've seen some games. My daughter went to school up there in Buffalo, played at the University of Buffalo. So I've been up there a few times when they had 5 feet of snow, and it's always an interesting environment, especially with all that. Well, you two, Lou and Noah, you both grew up in the snow belt, so you know a little bit about snow.
Yeah. That Patriots Bills game, I think it was 2 seasons ago, Mac Jones's rookie season. It was like -20. The goalposts were moving. It was like 10-3. I was at that game.
Oh my gosh.
The lower bowl. It was not fun whatsoever. So
you Braveheart, I know. Yeah.
And that stadium is not good. So good for them to build another one. You think First Energy, Cleveland Browns Stadium's bad.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that Buffalo Stadium.
Well,
never been to it.
Let me get your final thoughts tonight. Before we get to there, you guys are great. All of you. It's always cool. We do this podcasting for the fun of it. Most of us, all of us. We're not in it for the big bucks, but we love talking about the Brownies. And the thing is that you guys, and if you listen to all of our podcasts coming up, you'll know that these guys know a lot about the Browns and Cleveland, and they have. And if you're a Browns fan, just tune into us. Apple, Spotify. We got Jarrell here and Noah and Lou, and just excited to have you aboard here at the Fanatical Elfz. And we've only been doing this for about a year and less than a year. And Steve and Sam joined us a little bit ago, and the folks at Fans First Sports Network talked to me, a little over less than a year ago, and they are a growing product. They used to be part of Fox, that whole thing that happened, and we've got affiliates that are growing all over the place. They've got established affiliates in Pittsburgh, Boo, and the 49ers, the New York Mets, all sorts of things. But the guys there that run it, Jeff Hartman and Brian Davis, and a bunch of folks out there in San Francisco are doing a hell of a job. So we're just glad to be part of that and glad to include you guys here. Final takes tonight. Let's go around. We'll start with the new guys. Jarrell, anything you want to share out before we let everybody go?
Well, I definitely think the Kansas City Super Bowl victory, when I look at their team and how they won, Kelsey was their number one option, and Njoku really blossomed this year. So I think it was already said on the call, I really don't think that they're that far away in terms of the roster construction. They went 11-6 with a plethora of injuries. I do think if you had a healthy Watson or a healthy Chubb, that Texans game probably goes a little bit different.
Damn, I missed Nick Chubb.
Me too. So I do think that they're in a good position. I don't think they have to retool much. So it'll be interesting to see the kind of moves they make and, get back everybody healthy for the upcoming season. So I'm looking forward to it for sure.
We're excited to have you on board too. Thank you, Jarrell. Noah?
I'm going to go back to the stadium. I feel like this is a hot take, but as a Clevelander, I am so ready for a dome to be put on that stadium. Bring me the WrestleManias. Bring me the Final Fours. I'm ready for all of it.
Excellent. Hey, enjoy the Cavs game. Is it Cavs play tomorrow?
No, they're on.
No. It's the All-Star
weekend.
Weekend. Where am I? My God. Well, I've only been working.
I don't know.
I had parent-teacher conferences.
I had
parent-teacher conferences tonight, so that it just took a lot out of me. Come on now, I'm a school counselor. So.
They won last night. Cavs won last night by 3.
Yeah,
they did.
How did they turn that around? What happened there, Noah? They were losing most of that game.
They went on a scoring run. Kobe White just missed the final shot. Really, that was all of it. They just kept
I'm personal friends with Dean Wade. Dean and I are buddies. I got a picture of last year. I think I told you that over the phone, but his coach in high school, he and I know each other, and so we text quite a bit during the season. So I always get the inside scoop on Dean's thoughts.
He's probably my favorite role player on the team right now.
I love Dean. Yeah,
big part of that bench.
Big, yep. No, great to have you aboard. College of Wooster Fighting Scots.
Yes, sir.
Join him on the East Bank show coming up so stay tuned. Lou Marconi.
Yes.
How are final takes tonight?
I'm going to say this. I'm going along with Jarrell here that I think 2024, I'm getting this sense from the national media. There are already a lot of negative stories about the Browns. Like there's this BS story that Watson could face a further suspension.
I saw that today.
I just texted, I messaged it in the Cleveland Sports Talk chat. I said, that's just clickbait BS. Because Tom Pelissero, when the first suspension came down, said, this is it. This is it. Yeah. Unless something else comes out in a different period of time.
Yeah.
But no, he's going to be deposed, and because I think there's still one case pending. That's procedure. So there's nothing, and this is all speculation. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of speculation and stuff. I don't think Nick Chubb's going anywhere. I really don't. I see most of this team staying together, and I see this team being poised to make a run. The interesting thing, and I don't want to take too much time, was one of the things that I learned from Jack Duffin, who's a salary cap expert.
Yeah.
As long and people want to go negative on the Haslam's, that's fine. But the reason why this is sustainable and we're doing what we're doing is because they're restructuring contracts. He's paying out the money to do it. Mm-hmm. That's why it's sustainable.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yep. He has the cash to do it. The Rooneys don't have the cash. The Browns don't have the cash. And I don't know about Biscotti in Baltimore. I don't know if he has that kind of money either. He might not. But if we stay healthy, I don't see it out of the realm of possibility of winning the division. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. So that's my
excellent. Thanks, Lou. Glad to have you aboard too. This is all going to be great. A great time. Sam the man. Sam, how you doing? You ready?
Good. Yeah, I think the Browns. I think the Browns could have gone. Honestly, I think the Browns could have won 13 games if they didn't get hurt last year.
Easily.
I think the Browns easily could have been the 1 seed if we just. I mean, we had chances multiple times where we were weren't we half a game behind the Ravens a few times? And so I feel like the Browns. I mean, if Watson stays healthy, if Chubb stays healthy, and this defense, secondary can maybe figure some things out. Maybe we can figure out some things on.
Well, I mean, the Seattle game's a prime example of that, Sam. Like, we should have. The Seattle game was ours, and we just a doink off the helmet on a controversial play call. Lost us that game.
Did you notice?
We could have if we had actually played any
that?
players, we could have won that Bengals game. I mean, we could have easily won 13 games. And so I do believe the Browns have a decent chance at least making the wild card. I mean, winning the wild card. And I think we could make an AFC championship if everyone just stays healthy. And Kevin won Coach of the Year, so he's obviously pretty decent at his job.
2 of them.
And so I think the Browns definitely could make a divisional round berth and possibly win that.
Well, and it's not, I mean, we've been there. I mean, go back to 2020 and the pandemic and all that, but we did make it to the divisional round and played the Chiefs. And, if things went our way, the ball bounced a little bit differently, and we stop their backup quarterback from going 3rd down and long on a. But anyway, that's ancient history. Sam, nice to have you here, buddy. Thanks again. I mean, I'm glad you weren't munching the pretzels too much during the show, but we're
Fritos.
I love the fact that we're all over the world. We span the globe. Sam is in Texas. Jarrell and Steve are in Nashville. Steve, final take.
All right. First of all, Super Bowl play calling is very important. Hey, everybody. How about that? Number 2, special teams. Oh my goodness. The San Francisco kicker missed a kick. Who would have thought that would have happened?
We won. That's how
salary
we beat them.
cap. I am also a big I learned a long time ago as an accountant to learn what the NFL salary cap is about. Yes. I agree wholeheartedly with Jack Duffin on all of his takes. And the one key thing, and I preach this on every podcast, John. There's a little thing called upfront cash, and it takes a rich owner to do it.
Yeah.
It's in the salary cap. The owners can't get rid of it because the players will never agree to it because it's money that goes right into that player's account as soon as he signs on the dotted line.
Yes.
They paid more than $50 million of any other team in the NFL upfront cash. So like Lou says, this is very sustainable.
Yeah.
Salary cap is easy to manipulate, hard to maintain. You got to have a great GM. You got to have a front office that knows how to write a contract, and you got to have a filthy rich owner. And Jimmy and Dee just got their last $4 billion check from Warren Buffett's company. So he is
Is it $4 billion? That much?
Yeah, that was the last payment. He was getting $2 billion a year. See, the reason I know that is because his brother is the former governor of Tennessee, and they actually report on that down here. So
I remember there was like a dispute with the value or something. They were in court.
Oh, they worked that out.
Yeah,
they worked that out. They settled it, which means Jimmy probably had to pay a little fine. But he's probably rummaging around in his sofa for some change or something. But it is sustainable, people. Don't let anybody else tell you that they're kicking the can down the road. No, that road is a long road, so don't worry about it. And I agree. This team is all they got to do is get depth. Never like one of the guardrails. You don't pay for depth. And that's what the draft is for.
We're going to be talking all sorts of things coming up, and these guys are going to be bringing their own shows, their own takes on the combine, on the draft, on the free agency market as it starts opening up here. We've got all these new shows. Jarrell, what's the name of your show going to be? Tell me again. What are you looking at?
I'm still working on it. I haven't decided. I'm still working on it.
And Noah, what's yours going to be? Your the East Bank.
The East Bank Sports Show.
Excellent. And then Lou, what you're going to be trying to do some daily stuff, maybe like a daily.
Yeah, I was going to do a daily update show, and I was going to call it Burning River Browns Talk.
That's awesome.
I like that.
Yeah, Burning River. Yep. Yeah. Sam's bringing the Browns breakdowns. You can bring anything else?
I'm really proud of that name.
I love that name.
With the breakdowns.
Yeah, rhymes, and it just is short. It sounds great.
That's cool.
It is.
I like it.
I need to get it trademarked.
And then Stevie up there. You got the Browns Dog Pound South.
Cleveland Browns Dog Pound South podcast.
Yep, bringing perspectives outside of Cleveland. We love it. Join us all. We got Elliot, who's not on the show tonight, who's bringing the Cleveland Oracle Speaks. I've got my own Johnny Cleveland show, and we'll have some special shows, breaking news, all those things coming up when we have the draft, free agency. So stay tuned. Look forward to hearing all of you guys coming up in the next several weeks. And thanks again for joining us here on the show tonight. Everybody have a great night, and go Brownies.
Go Browns.
Here we go.
Brownies.
Here we go.